Hi, welcome back. Today I wanted to address the phrase victim mentality. On my last video, I received a comment that said this victim mentality has to stop. The phrase victim mentality is often used and shuts people down just when they started to reach out and ask for help. And it's unfortunate that it's gained some traction even with the online mental health community, that people are victims and that they don't want to do for themselves. And so much nuance is missed when someone actually has complex trauma and somebody wants to slap, the term victim mentality on them. I just really wanted to go through a few things to clarify the so-called victim mentality. So there is a difference in admitting that you were victimized and having a victim mentality. Sometimes the hardest thing people do is saying, this tragic thing happened to me. They may keep these things to themselves for years. I have a lot of middle-aged to older clients, and I'll have people in their, 50s, 60s, 70s tell me something horribly disturbing that they have held in that happened to them that they have never shared with a soul. They have carried this heavy weight forever and never received any kind of compassion for it, have never been able to just verbally ventilate it and say what happened. So admitting that they were victimized is definitely not a victim mentality. And I feel like when we assign victim mentality to things, we discourage people from seeking help and from telling their truth. The other thing that where people that want to say someone has a victim mentality, where it goes off track, is when you decide somebody has a victim mentality, that person that decides that is putting themselves in the position to assume they know everything about that person. They know their history, everything they've been through. They know their current environment. They know their level of resilience. To assign somebody, to call somebody out and say you have a victim mentality is really, it's quite arrogant on the part of the person that's saying that, because it's assuming that they're almost godlike and they know everything about the person. I think also it's very important that to know that like survival, staying alive for some people, especially those people that have complex trauma, sometimes that's all they have for us is to stay alive each day. And that should be really recognized and celebrated. The comment came on a video about, surviving Christmas when you have a history of complex trauma or depression. And I don't think people realize how important it is that people just stay alive. As a mental health professional, I see family members of people that have decided that they could no longer stay alive. And I promise you, the effects of that will ripple through generations. Not just the people that are here left to deal with it, whose lives are forever changed, but on down to their children and possibly their children's children. That the effects of unaliving yourself go on for generations. So the fact that somebody is depressed and is struggling with their trauma and all they can do is stay here and not cause the whole world to have to deal with a life without them, that is huge. That is not a victim mentality. If you're really struggling and on Christmas you had to stay in bed because you couldn't get up and go to the festivities, you couldn't bring yourself to that, but you stayed there and you stayed here, that is not victim mentality. That is strength. I want people to understand that what most traumatized people are trying to do is just to heal, just to be seen. They don't want to be stuck. People say, well, just go make friends, go get a job, go do this. Well, sometimes they don't have the capacity for that in the moment. Maybe they have panic attacks and they can't go out and get a job. Maybe they have crippling social anxiety and it's not easy to go out and just make some friends. We don't understand somebody's capacity to. So again, that goes back with thinking you know everything about somebody when you decide they're a victim. Until you really can understand what people are walking through and what goes on in their heads and their hearts, it's not right to just say, oh, get a job, do this, pull yourself up by your bootstraps. Not everybody can. And I believe that we take action and that actions help us overcome our mental distress and our trauma, but that has to be paired with compassion, understanding, nervous system regulation, maybe some coaching, somebody to be there for you, to say to somebody, especially somebody that doesn't have any support, oh, just go get a job. What's wrong with you? Stop playing the victim. This is so harmful. And especially when people are just reaching out. Maybe they disclose for the first time what happened, and somebody says, oh, you're playing the victim. So I just want to caution people, if you think somebody's being a victim, maybe just take a step back and wonder, like, do I really truly understand where they came from, what they've been through, what their environment's like, maybe even what their health is like, what their nutrition's like? Because I guarantee you don't know everything about a person. And when we get to this victim mentality thing, there's a lot of shame attached, and it can keep people that were going to look for help, or that were disclosing things that hurt them for the first time and looking for a better life, looking to function better. It can cause them to shrink, feel shame, and not seek help. So if you have been through this, if somebody has told you that, you're being a victim, just move on, why can't you forget about it? Please take hope and know that that's not the case. By admitting what's going on and seeking help and saying, hey, I can't do this alone, you're not being a victim. You're doing exactly what you need to do, which is reach out for help. And from me and from your family and your friends, thank you so much for staying here. If that's all that you have is just to stay here one more day, thank you and good job. I'm going to post a tapping meditation to the channel as well that can help if you've been through this. It's going to be on releasing shame and reclaiming safety if you've had anybody say these things to you. And I think that's about it. So take care, and thanks for watching. Bye.